My name is Nialah. I'm 25 years old and I live in New York City. I'm also the co-founder of Freedom March NYC. My first march this year was May 31st, and I really decided to come out because I've already saw a lot of protesters marching down 6th Avenue from my window, and I wanted to also be involved. I would think what also really drew me to speak up and, be a leader within my own right in this moment was that I did have some organizational skills. I've helped organize marches before in the past in New York City, and also I just wanted to be active. Since I started marching May 31st this year, I definitely have seen and felt major changes in my life. For one, on a personal level, I have some sort of social anxiety. I don't like public speaking, and I've been kind of put to the forefront where I had to speak with other people, to speak with other organizers, to speak in public, to speak on panels so I can help share my message and help share the message of Freedom March NYC. So I kind of had to really get comfortable with being uncomfortable, in which I'm really thankful for. This is probably the most I've ever interacted with other people, the most I've ever been outside of my life, the most I've ever made friends in my life, because I'm usually a person who likes to be behind the scenes, in ways I'm still behind the scenes, but I'm talking, I'm collaborating, and I'm making sure that I'm getting the work done, which requires social interaction. So I've been a lot more social, more than I wanted to be, but here I am. For me, I'm not a student. I do have a job, I have a full-time job, so it's definitely difficult managing movement work as well as my full-time job, but thankfully my team, we all have different roles to play, and although I may not be able to be on the ground physically all the time, I can help organize and do work behind the scenes. And then the other thing that I would say is really different this time, and well, I would say two things that are different this time. One, when we think about the civil rights movement and this movement now, which is now the largest civil rights movement, is the power of social media and how social media has been used to amplify the voices of those on the ground, as well as to really capture what is going on the ground. So before, we didn't see body camera footage or cell phone footage being posted to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and it can just share and spread rapidly, that I can know what's going on in Los Angeles in real time while I'm in New York. I can find out what's going on in Minneapolis when I'm in Milwaukee. I can contact other organizers from across the nation in a way that I don't think was possible before without social media. But then again, with social media, there's also this hyper surveillance of activists being targeted by police officers because they find us on our socials, or they're pinpointing where we are in time to put us together, like, okay, they were at this protest, so we're kind of on their radar, which makes it also scary. So it's like, it's good and bad. And the other thing that is different in this time, which no one has ever faced in their lifetime, is that we're in a global pandemic. So just finding out how to organize safely in this space. When I think about the first night out, May 31st, I didn't speak at all. I didn't speak because I was nervous, but also was like, I'm not taking my mask off. And I tried to speak to others with my mask on, but they're like, I can't hear you. I'm like, well, I'm not taking it off because I don't want to get coronavirus. And not only that, it's just like some people may live with people that are affected by coronavirus, so because of that, they can't go outside. And then also just when we organize marches, it's not just, okay, everyone meet up here. It's who has the PPE, who's going to be in the crowd, who has the hand sanitizer, who's handing out masks. And I don't think we had to do any of this before. That wasn't a focus. When I was out in 2014, we were just outside. We wanted to make sure we had signs and banners and megaphones, but the conversation wasn't water, hand sanitizer, and mask. And it's important that we just stress that even though you may not see someone with a mask because they're speaking, but we stress that you do come to these things with masks because, of course, we want to organize and we want to fight for justice, but we want to do it safely for ourselves and those around us. One of my I'm really passionate, and I hope that I can do next year, is when Freedom March NYC came to be. We really came to be out of the height of the George Floyd protests in New York City. And then just about 2 to 3 days later, we're like, okay, we want to transition into the youth-led civil rights organization. And in doing so, we decided to come up with a policy platform, which we have our five pushes to freedom, is what we like to call them. And one of them, which I'm really excited about and I'm hopeful that it can happen, is the proposal of a youth public advocate position. We believe that this position is important because we should have someone who's representative of youth voices. This year, New York City summer internship funding was cut because of coronavirus, and it impacted a lot of people who relied on that money just as, their income. So I think having a position that speaks for youth who are in school or who aren't in school, or there's a plethora of issues that the younger generation is facing, is very important. Like, I want to know that there's someone in public office who's representing me, and not just because they're from my neighborhood or they're from my district, but also because they have a shared experience that I have. I have definitely been getting a lot of more attention because of these protests, and in a way these protests have almost came off as trendy. We see so many different brands talking about it, and people have asked me, like, oh my gosh, like, do you want to be an activist? I didn't really choose this life. I am a Black woman, and unfortunately my existence is resistance. So no matter what, I have to be active, and I'm always active. But what really is a dream for me is I'm interested in being a food blogger. I really like soul food and Caribbean food and African food, and I love desserts, and I love taste testing, and my friends hit me up and ask me, like, oh, what should I order from this restaurant? So maybe in the future, you see me like in the streets, but you also can come and look for me for your favorite reviews on peach cobbler or red snapper and plantains.